Good morning, students. Today we'll be taking chapter 5 in our OB course. The chapter title is Understanding Work Teams. فرق العمل. We'll begin with the difference between groups and teams. ما هو الفرق ما بين الفرق والمجموعات؟ Groups and teams are not the same thing. If we see here in our PowerPoint presentation, we define a group as two or more individuals interacting and interdependent who have come together to achieve particular objectives. So in this definition, we find two other definitions: a work group and a work team. What is a work group? A work group is a group that interacts primarily to share information and to make decisions to help each other to perform within his or her area of responsibility. In this context, work groups have no need or opportunity to engage in collective work that requires joint effort. Their performance is a summation of each group member's individual contribution. So there is no positive synergy. الجروب لما تكون مجموعة من الناس بتعمل شغل لكن هي ونتيجة هذا الشغل بيبقى عبارة عن مجموع الcontribution بتاع كل فرد فيها. However, we have here a work team. Although work groups do not provide positive synergy, however, work team generates positive synergy. That coordinated effort, individual effort, results in a level of performance that is greater than the sum of those individual inputs. تقدر دايما تشوف الفرق بين الورك جروب والورك تيم زي ما تكون احنا عاملين مجموعة عمل في الكلاس او السكشن او في المحاضرة، بس كل واحد بيبقى مسؤول في الاخر عن نتيجته هو. اما الورك تيم تقدر تبصلها على انها زي مثلا الفوتبول بلايرز، ما اسمهاش فوتبول جروب، اسمها فوتبول تيم. ليه؟ لأن في الآخر النتيجة بتبقى للكل. That's why they say that work team results that is in a performance that is greater than the sum of an individual input. We can see here the difference or a comparison between worker groups and work teams. Worker groups, they share information. The goal is to share information. However, in work teams, they have collective performance. The synergy they have here neutral or sometimes negative, but in work teams, it is positive. The accountability here is individual. كل واحد مسؤول عن شغله، كل واحد مسؤول عن أو مسؤول عن الأداء بتاعه. أما في الwork teams they have both individual and mutual. Also, the skills here are random and varied، عشوائية ومختلفة. أما في الورك تيمز فهي لازم تكون complementary، كل واحد فيهم بيكمل الآخر. Also here we will consider the four types of teams. أنواع الفرق. We have here four types of teams. We will explain each one later. They are namely problem-solving teams, self-managed teams, cross-functional teams, and virtual teams. First type of teams, which is called problem-solving teams. Problem-solving teams, before defining this, we have to mention that approximately 20 years ago, teams were just beginning to grow in popularity, and most took similar forms. They are typically composed of from 5 to 12 hourly employees from the same department who met for a few hours each week to discuss ways of improving quality, efficiency, and the work environment. Members in these problem-solving teams share ideas or sometimes offer suggestions on how work processes and methods can be improved. Rarely are they given the authority to implement their suggested actions, so they are just proposing solutions for problems لكن ما عندهمش authority to implement these actions. The second type of teams is called self-managed work teams. النوع الأول اللي هو problem solving teams didn't go far enough in getting employees involved in work related decisions and processes. عشان كده this kind of teams اللي هي self-managed teams اللي هي typically from 10 to 15 people perform highly related and interdependent jobs and take on many of the responsibilities of their former supervisors. ايه هي المهام بتاعتهم؟ It could include planning, تخطيط, scheduling for work, assigning tasks to members, collective control over the pace of work, making operating decisions and taking action on problems. نلاحظ ان في السيلف مانج تيمز بياخدوا action على عكس problem solving teams. اول نوع ما كانش عندهم الحرية ان هم to take actions on the problems they face. The third type of teams is cross-functional teams. Cross-functional يعني متعددة الوظائف، عندها يعني بتاخد من كل وظيفة أو من كل مجال وظيفي فرد. عشان كده هي التعريف بتاعها employees from about the same hierarchical level من نفس المستوى التنظيمي لكن from different work areas who come together to establish a tasks. This type of teams is very common. They are task forces and sometimes they are committees. كل الأنواع اللي فاتت all previous types of teams do their work face to face بيتقابلوا وجها لوجه. However, this kind of teams اللي هي virtual teams use computer technology to tie together physically dispersed members in order to achieve a common goals. Physically dispersed يعني هم متباعدين مش موجودين مع بعض. They allow people to collaborate online. Virtual teams can do all things that other teams can do. They can include members from the same organization or link an organizational member with employees from other organizations من نفس الorganization أو من غيرها. They set up a few days to solve problems, a few months to complete a project or exist permanently. يعني ممكن التيم ده virtual team ده يبقى بس في عدة أيام لمجرد حل مشكلة أو لعدة شهور عشان نكمل مشروع، أو ممكن الفيرتشوال تيم ده يكون موجود على طول exist permanently. The three primary factors that differentiate virtual teams الحاجات الكاركترستكس بتاعتها the limited social context مفيش socializing. They suffer from less social and less direct interaction among members and the ability to overcome time and space constraints because virtual teams allow people to work together who might otherwise never be able to collaborate. To be effective, these teams need trust among members. They need close monitoring and to be publicized. In this model, in figure 8.3, in this model, these are factors for creating effective teams. Effectiveness model, it is called. Four key components impact the group effectiveness or team effectiveness. They are namely the context, the team's composition, the work design, and the process. The key component of effective teams here, as we said, context, composition, work design, and process. Let's start with the context. The first one, adequate resources. It includes adequate resources. Here, all teams need resources outside the group to sustain it عشان تقدر تبقى مستدامة. A scarcity of resources directly reduces the ability of the team to perform the job effectively. طبعا ده أمر واضح. One of the most important characteristics of an effective work group is the support of group received from the organization. So we have to have adequate resources. The second, in the context, we are in the first factor for team effectiveness اللي هو الcontext. We will talk about effective leadership and structure. Agreeing on the specifics of works and how they fit together to integrate individual skills requires team leadership, قيادة, and structure, الهيكل. Leadership is not always needed. Self-managed work teams, النوع التاني من الwork teams اللي احنا قلناهم, often perform better than teams with formally appointed leaders. Leadership is especially important in multi-team systems where different teams need to coordinate their efforts to produce a desired outcome. We still in the context and we will talk about the climate of trust اللي هو مناخ الثقة. Members need to trust each other and their leaders. They need to exhibit trust. بتظهر هذا المستوى من الثقة. When members trust each other, they are more willing to take risks and they trust their leadership. They are willing to commit to the leader's goals and decisions. Also, we talk about the performance and reward system. عندنا بعض reward systems التقليدية, traditional reward systems must be modified. لازم ان هي تعدل to reflect the team performance. مثلا evaluation like fixed hour wages, individual incentives, these are not consistent with group performance. Management should consider أنواع أخرى like group-based appraisals like profit sharing, توزيع الأرباح, gain sharing, small group incentives, and other system modification that informs team effort and commitment.